What if I told you there's a psychological trick so powerful that it can make anyone confess to anything, even if they don't want to? This isn't about torture, lie detectors, or intimidation. It's something much more effective. A method so precise that the FBI, CIA, and top interrogators worldwide use it to extract the truth from the most hardened criminals. But here's the thing. This isn't just for law enforcement. This same technique can be used in business, relationships, and everyday conversations to uncover hidden truths and make people reveal what they don't want to say. And in this video, I'm going to break it all down. You'll learn the exact psychological tricks the FBI uses to break even the most resistant people. You'll see why these techniques work and how the human brain makes them nearly impossible to resist. And most importantly, you'll discover how you can use them in your own life to detect deception, control conversations, and get the truth out of anyone. But there's one more thing. At the end of this video, I'll give you a special psychological test. If you fail it, it means you're easily manipulated without even realizing it. Are you ready to take the test? Let's dive in. The FBI doesn't rely on brute force or lie detectors to extract the truth. They use psychology, and their techniques are so effective that even innocent people sometimes confess to crimes they never committed. But why? Because people don't tell the truth under pressure. They tell the truth when they feel like they have no other option. The FBI creates this effect using 3 psychological strategies that make lying almost impossible. First, the illusion of inevitability. The moment a suspect believes that resistance is pointless, they stop fighting and start talking. FBI interrogators use carefully crafted statements like, "We already have the evidence. We just need to hear your side of the story. This is your chance to explain before things get worse." This makes the person feel like lying is useless, so telling the truth seems like the only option. Second, the fake ally strategy. People don't confess to their enemies. They confess to those they trust. This is why FBI agents never start with aggression. Instead, they act like a friend. They offer water, a cigarette, or a moment to catch their breath. They lower their voice, make eye contact, and say, "I get it." I'd feel the same way if I were in your shoes. They make the suspect believe they are on their side. And once that trust is built, people start talking. Third, cognitive overload. This technique overwhelms the brain with rapid, unexpected questions until the person can't keep track of their own lies. Where were you last night? Who were you with? What time did you leave? What color was the waiter's shirt? By firing question after question, they make it impossible for the brain to fabricate consistent lies. The result? The suspect starts accidentally revealing the truth without even realizing it. These 3 techniques, the illusion of inevitability, the fake ally strategy, and cognitive overload, are the foundation of FBI interrogations. But they're just the beginning. In the next chapter, I'll reveal 5 specific interrogation tricks that make people crack, even when they desperately want to lie. Now that you understand the psychology behind FBI interrogations, let's get into the 5 most powerful techniques they use to make people confess, even when they don't want to. 1. The illusory evidence trick. People are more likely to confess when they believe there's undeniable proof against them. FBI agents use fake evidence or vague statements to plant doubt in the suspect's mind. Example: "We already have surveillance footage of you at the scene." Even if they don't, the suspect starts to doubt their own ability to lie convincingly. 2. The alternative story method. This technique doesn't force a confession directly. Instead, it gives the suspect a way to admit guilt without feeling like a criminal. Example: "I don't think you planned to do anything wrong. Maybe things just got out of control." By presenting a softer version of the truth, people are more willing to admit their involvement. 3. The read technique. This is the most famous interrogation method used by law enforcement worldwide. It follows a three-step process. Step 1. Build rapport. Create a friendly environment. Step 2. Offer a justification. Make the confession feel reasonable. Step 3. Subtly guide the suspect to agree with an admission of guilt. Studies show that this technique is so effective that 94% of FBI interrogations using it lead to confessions. The silent pressure move. Silence is one of the most powerful weapons in interrogation. Most people can't handle awkward silence. They feel pressured to fill it with words. When an interrogator asks a tough question and then says nothing, the suspect will instinctively start talking just to break the silence, often revealing more than they intended. 5. The false choice illusion. This trick gives people the illusion of control while still guiding them to confess. The FBI offers two options, both leading to a confession. Example: did you do it because you were angry, or was it an accident? Notice something? Neither option allows the person to deny guilt. They are tricked into admitting involvement without even realizing it. These 5 techniques, the illusory evidence trick, the alternative story method, the read technique, the silent pressure move, and the false choice illusion, are devastatingly effective. But here's the real question: how can you use them in daily life? In the next chapter, I'll show you how to apply these tactics in negotiations, relationships, and everyday conversations to uncover the truth whenever you need it. Now that you know how the FBI forces people to confess, you're probably wondering, how can you use these techniques in your own life? You might not be interrogating criminals, but the ability to uncover hidden truths is a game changer in business, relationships, and social interactions. 1. In business and negotiations, use the illusory evidence trick when negotiating deals. Example: if you're discussing a salary raise, say, "I know for a fact that my colleagues in similar roles are earning at least 15% more." Even if you don't have direct proof, this statement puts pressure on your employer to confirm or deny it. Use the false choice illusion in decision-making. Instead of asking, "Do you want to invest in this?" say, "Would you rather go with Plan A, which guarantees stability, or Plan B, which offers higher risk but bigger rewards?" You force them into making a decision rather than saying no. 2. In relationships, use the alternative story method to get honest answers. Instead of confronting someone aggressively with, "Are you lying to me?" swing, say, "I totally understand if you're hesitant to tell me the full story. I just want to know what really happened." This reduces their defensive response and makes them more likely to open up. Use the silent pressure move during tough conversations. If you feel someone is hiding something, ask a direct question, then wait. The awkward silence will make them feel pressured to explain themselves further. 3. In social interactions, use the read technique to uncover hidden opinions. Instead of asking, "Do you like this idea?" say, "I noticed you hesitated before responding. What are your real thoughts on this?" This forces people to clarify their stance. Use cognitive overload when someone is avoiding a direct answer. Example: if you suspect a friend is lying about their weekend, don't ask, "Where were you?" Instead, fire multiple questions in a row. Who were you with? What time did you get home? What was the restaurant called? What did you order? If they start struggling to keep their story straight, you know they're not telling the full truth. These psychological techniques work not because they force people to talk, but because they create an environment where lying becomes too difficult. And now it's time for the real test. Are you easily manipulated? Or are you someone who can spot and resist these tactics? In the next chapter, we'll do a 3-question psychological test that will reveal if you're someone who can be tricked or someone who's always in control. Now it's time to put your instincts to the test. If you've been paying attention, you should already have a sense of how FBI interrogation techniques work. But here's the real question: How easily can you be manipulated? Below are 3 psychological questions. Answer honestly, and we'll analyze your results at the end. Question 1. If someone accuses you of something you didn't do, what's your first reaction? A. Defend yourself immediately, explaining why it's not true. B. Stay calm and ask why they think that. C. Get flustered and try to convince them with more details. Question 2. During a conversation, someone suddenly stops talking and just looks at you in silence. What do? A. Feel awkward and start filling the silence with words. B. Maintain eye contact and wait for them to speak first. C. Change the subject to avoid discomfort. Question 3. You're in a debate, and the other person says, "We already know you're wrong, but we're curious to hear your reasoning." How do you respond? A. Get defensive and try to prove your point. B. Call out their manipulation and reframe the discussion. C. Try to justify yourself even though you feel pressured. Your results: mostly A's or C's. You're highly susceptible to manipulation. You react emotionally and allow others to control the conversation. Mostly B's. You're difficult to manipulate. You stay in control, remain calm, and recognize psychological traps. If you found yourself choosing A's and C's, don't worry. Awareness is the first step to building resistance. You've now learned the exact tactics used to influence people, and that means you can start training yourself to resist them. And that brings us to one final lesson: the ultimate mindset shift that will make you unbreakable in any conversation. In the next chapter, I'll show you how to develop a psychological shield so that no one can ever manipulate you again. Everything you've learned so far is useless if you don't apply it. Knowledge is powerless without execution. And the truth is, the only way to become immune to manipulation is through real-world practice. So here's your 24-hour challenge. This is a test to see if you can recognize and resist psychological pressure in your daily life. Step 1. Identify a high-pressure situation. Think about where you're most likely to be influenced: at work, in a social setting, in a negotiation, or even with family. Choose a moment where someone typically tries to get information from you, pressure you into something, or make you react emotionally. Step 2. Use one of the psychological shields. The next time someone puts you on the spot, intentionally apply one of the techniques from this video. Example: if someone asks a question that makes you uncomfortable, use the silent pressure move and see how long they can handle the silence. If someone tries to control the conversation, flip the frame with a counter question. If someone tries to manipulate you emotionally, stay neutral and unreadable. Step 3. Observe the reaction. Most people don't expect others to resist psychological tactics. Watch how they respond when you don't play into their frame. Do they get uncomfortable? Do they backtrack? Do they start revealing their true intentions? Step 4. Comment below. After completing the challenge, come back to this video and write your experience in the comments. What situation did you face? What tactic did you use? What was the result? This isn't just about learning a skill, it's about transforming how you interact with the world. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of 99% of people who blindly fall into manipulation traps every day. But now, you have the tools to protect yourself, control conversations, and never be outplayed again. If you nailed the challenge, type Master of Persuasion in the comments so I know you're the real deal. If you found this video valuable, hit the like button. It tells YouTube this is worth sharing. Subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning of the mind-sharpening content we're dropping. And share this video with someone who needs to see it, because the more people wake up to these tactics, the harder they are to use against us. The world is divided into 2 types of people: those who control conversations and shape outcomes, and those who are controlled without realizing it. Which one are you? Ah.